Good evening, Freddy Vazquez here with Basement Politics Unfiltered. Good evening, folks. Coming on a little late, but I'm coming on. Tonight, I will be talking about Bill A8378. Later on. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. And tonight, I'm going to be talking about Bill A8378. And that's very important to folks who have children in the school systems. Why is that? I'm going to bring it up here. Assembly Bill 8378 is the bill that will require immunization against COVID-19. This is sponsored by Jeffrey Dinowitz, assemblyman out in the Bronx. Authorizes the Commissioner of Health to develop and supervise the execution of a program of immunization against COVID-19 for the purpose of state aid to schools, important, requires immunization against COVID-19 for attendance at school. Students get vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccination. So, yeah, and I believe that they're going to go ahead and move forward now, or I'm saying the assembly now. They haven't voted on it, but they will soon. I believe they're getting everything in systems. For example, catalog the data, the health records of those who have been vaccinated, and to maintain those records. Because remember, it's not just one, they're booster shots. So they're out now. I'm going to get a little more detailed on the bill, share another screen here. Here, Assembly October 20th, it was introduced, 2021, introduced by Dinowitz. It says A. Dinowitz. I thought his name was Jeffrey. Anyway, Section 1, Section 4. So what it does is going to amend the public health law, right? And in relation to requiring immunization against COVID-19. Section 1, Section 2164 of the Public Health Law, as amended by Chapter 401 of the Laws of 2015, Subdivisions 6 and 7, as amended by Chapter 35 of the Laws of 2019, is amended to read as follows. 2164, definition, immunization against, I'm not going to read all these. I can't even pronounce them. Mumps, measles, rubella, all those different that you see there, and I'll highlight it. But those are the ones that we have been getting vaccinated for a while now, right? For decades now. But they're adding this one here at the end, COVID-19, that you see there in green after hepatitis B. So that's what will, be the change. This bill will, excuse me, amend the public health law to include COVID-19 as well as the other, vaccines that we would be receiving or kids will be receiving when they're born as babies. So it's another shot for kids when they're born. The term school means and includes any, so this is important too, because it's not just public schools. So the school, term school means and includes any public, private, or parochial, the Catholic schools, religion schools, caring centers, day nurseries, daycare agencies, nursery schools, kindergarten, elementary, intermediate, or secondary school. The term child, now let's be specific what the term child means, shall mean and include any person between the ages of 2 months and 18 years. And they just recently, the FDA authorized the vaccine for children between the ages of 5 and 12. So now you can go and get your 5-year-old vaccinated at your local CVS, which reports have stated that they have, CVS alone has vaccinated over 1 million 5 to 11-year-olds. The term person in parental relation to a child, right? We have to make sure that they define whoever the custodial guardian or the parent of the child shall mean and include his father or mother by birth or adoption, his legally appointed guardian or his custodian. A person shall be regarded as the custodian of a child if he has assumed the charge and care of the child. Yeah. So basically, you know what that means. The term health practitioner shall mean any person authorized by the law to administer immunization. So again, this is very important. It's very important. You know, look, I'm not here to be a conspiracy theorist. And I just want to stop and kind of talk about this for a second because, you know, I get feedback from people and some people say, hey, Fred, you have to have a focus. I do have a focus. I definitely have a focus. And the focus is you, the viewer, the audience, the people out there uh, in Facebook world or actually in the real world. The people you know concern me, your you know people's safety, people. That's why I do what I do. That's why we have a nonprofit. That's why we have the Feed the Need program and other things that we do that we don't mention because we care. And you know, and I think this is important. um and this affects us and impacts us on a local level, and this has us divided, and it's a national issue, but it's not. It's also a local issue. It's a family issue. It's an internal issue. We have friends that are divided, are no longer friends, family members not talking to each other over, uh, you know, this entire pandemic of COVID-19. And now you have the division between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. And, you know, there are crazy things that are being said by people who have a wide reach, a wider audience than I will ever dream to have. You know, like, you know, Don Lemon on CNN, who says that if you're not vaccinated, you shouldn't be allowed to go to the grocery store or go to work. That's crazy. That's crazy. And that goes against the Nuremberg laws or the Nuremberg Code, I should say. And if you're not familiar with those, you can Google it. Google them. And they were, you know, that was something that was enacted after World War II and the Holocaust, right? We have a right to make health decisions for ourselves, and they should not be mandated in order to have freedoms, in order to go to the grocery store, to have a job, and to get educated, and to get educated. And I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of homeschooling. People are going to pull their kids out of the schools and just take it upon themselves to educate their kids moving forward. And there was a recent study actually that was put out that said that the lockdowns and remote learning and homeschooling were very detrimental or had catastrophic effects on kids' education. Well, really, I think people were saying that from day one, but it took almost 2 years for the experts to put that study out, while the studies on the vaccine safeties came out within days, right? So think about that. But I think the point of that study, it's not necessary to tell us the obvious, but I think the point of that study is to um, prime us, prime us, you know, because the study goes on to say that kids have fallen so far back behind that they actually need more school. They need to be in school more longer because remote learning and homeschooling was catastrophic to their education. But we all know it wasn't the homeschooling. And yes, remote learning um, wasn't the same quality of education as they were used to while attending in person because it was new. It was new. You know, there were a lot of challenges, and now we're, you know, the kids are back in school, thank God. But homeschooling, on the other hand, I think that that's something, you know, that they're just throwing in there to again prime people and get parents to think about homeschooling their kids and saying, wait a minute, you know, my kid is already suffering. My kids are suffering academically. We care about their future. We want them to succeed. So maybe we need to put them in school. We have to get them vaccinated. We have to do it. It's safe. So again, it's just similar to what some of the parents were saying at the Yonkers public school board meeting, where they, you know, were upset because students were not allowed to attend the college fair because they weren't vaccinated. But that made absolutely no sense because they were going to class together. Kids who are vaccinated and not vaccinated, but they couldn't attend the college fair together. And you have to understand the psychological um, manipulation that's going on. again, and so I want to go back to what I started out saying. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not looking to put out misinformation. I'm not looking to cause further harm, and it's quite the opposite. I'm looking to provide information, build more awareness, and that's similar to what I do with local politics. And I'm going to do it on other issues. And this is something that's going to affect us here locally. If this bill is passed, you are a parent and you have children in the school, you will have to make that decision if you have not already vaccinated your child. And there are many parents that don't want their kids vaccinated. There are parents who are actually vaccinated, but still want to hold off on vaccinating their kids because they're not quite sure if that's the right decision. To be quite honest, is it really? The studies have not been adequately conducted. I mean, they still need to factor in long term studies, which cannot happen until long term happens, right? And there's time that needs to pass before they should even consider mandating vaccines, particularly for kids and women, pregnant women, I should say, pregnant women. I just want to go into a little more detail about the bill A8378. Purpose: to add immunization against COVID-19 to the statutory list of vaccines that students are required to receive as a condition of attending school. The requirement would only take effect upon full approval of such a vaccine by the US FDA and upon the recommendation by the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. But we all know that's going to happen. They all work uh, in cahoots, they're together. Summary of provisions. Section 1 and 2 of the bill amend various subdivisions of Section 2164 of the Public Health Law to add a vaccine against COVID-19 to the statutory list of required vaccines that students must receive, again, as condition of attending school. Section 3 of the bill amends subdivisions 1 of Section 613 of the Public Health Law to direct the New York State Department of Health to develop and supervise the execution of a program of immunization, surveillance, and testing to raise the highest reasonable level the immunity of the children of the state against COVID-19. Something you need to ponder. You need to ponder on. Section 3 of the bill amends subdivision 1 of Section 613 of the Public Health Law to direct the New York State Department of Health to develop and supervise the execution of a program of immunization, surveillance, and testing to raise the highest reasonable levels the immunity of children of the state against COVID-19. So they're basically saying that this bill will give the state, health officials, um, the right, the means, the resources to implement a program to execute the immunization of children in the state of New York. So they're trying to pull at your your heartstrings there, your emotions. It's the children. I have kids too. I have a 5-year-old. He's going to be 6 soon. I have a 10-year-old, and I love them very much, more than anything in this world. More than anything in this world. And there's nothing I wouldn't do to make sure that they are safe and protected at all times. And yes, we may have difference of opinion. And I'm not here to change people's minds. That's not my goal. My goal is not to change your mind if you don't agree. And if you completely just don't want to hear it, you can keep moving if you haven't already. But I ask that you have an open mind and just think about the information that I present and the information that's out there that's readily available if you research. You have to understand the um, incentives, the agendas, the benefits that these companies like Moderna, Pfizer, and health officials are receiving in order for this to go through. Again, particularly with schools, they receive aid. The states, they're receiving aid from the federal government. It's all about the money. So that tends to fog, you know, the minds of the politicians, of the elected officials. Going back to this thing, justification. So this is the justification for Bill 8378. Under current New York State law, children attending both public and private schools in the state are required to receive vaccination against a list of them: polio, mumps, measles, all of those good things, in accordance with the Center of Disease Control's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices recommended schedules. These required vaccinations help prevent outbreaks of potentially deadly communicable diseases and contribute to herd immunity in the adult population at student age. Okay, so they're saying if you mute the children, it'll help the adult population, right? But the problem I have there is that you still can get COVID if you get vaccinated. You still can get COVID if you get vaccinated. So again, I'm not looking to change anyone's mind. I like discussions. I don't like to go back and forth. I don't like to be insulted. And a lot of people have thrown insults my way when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic topic. I'm not sure why we can't have a sensible conversation, a discussion, and I can present my facts, or not mine, but facts that I've discovered. You can present facts that you have, and we can have a discussion, and that's what it's all about. But when you have division and you have people segregated and you have people wearing masks and 6 feet apart, there's no unity. It perpetuates, or it furthers the gap of that we're trying to close in on and be one, right? And I think that some are starting to realize that, some are pulling further apart, but we need to at least have respect for each other. And I'm just saying, if you don't agree, that's fine. I'm not looking to change your mind. I'm just simply saying, be open minded and listen to experts. There are many medical experts, and I'm talking about individuals with um, Nobel Prize, virologists, immunologists, epidemiologists, if I said that right, who all say to hold off. It's not safe just yet. It's not safe. And there's a bunch of data that suggests it's not safe. And it's just if you want to look at it or not. I'm going to share some stuff from the CDC's website because, again, I want to share all information. I'm not sharing just information to say that I'm vaccines that have been approved for the ages. Most children and all teens can get COVID-19 vaccines. CDC recommends everyone age 5 and older get a COVID vaccine to help protect against COVID-19. Authorized for. So, as you can see, it shows you the ages um, there of children and then what's been authorized for their particular age. 4 and under, nothing's been authorized yet. And again, authorized and approved are two different things. Understand that. Authorized and approved are two different things. They're being authorized under an emergency use because people are dropping dead all around you, if you haven't noticed. 5 to 11. Again, they just recently approved the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. However, Moderna and the Johnson & Johnson have no authorization, I should say, not approval. Pfizer's been authorized. Again, 12 to 17, only Pfizer has been authorized. And then 18 years of older, all three of the vaccines are authorized. I want to say approved, but it's not. It's authorized. Authorized. Now, a little quick fact about Moderna. Moderna has never brought a product to market until now. So think about this. Moderna is owned by Pfizer. if you didn't know. So Moderna is Pfizer is the parent company to Moderna, which is owned by BlackRock, and I can go on and show you the connection all the way down. But they've never in the 11 years or so, or 10, 11 years that Moderna has been in business, out of the 9 products that they've worked on, they were not able to get any one of them past stage 3 clinical trials. So therefore, they never were able to get any products to market. In the 11 years that it's been in business, not one product. Not one product. Why? Because Moderna was set up as a shell company initially. It's a company that is set up to take a fall for another company, so it kind of softens the blow, or any blowback if there is. Uh, but it's an opportunity in the COVID-19 pandemic, and they, for some reason, somehow, were able to get authorization for emergency use, although they've never had a track record of producing a successful, viable, safe vaccine. In 11 years, they could not get 9 of the products, the vaccines that they've tried to get to market, could not pass stage 3 clinical trials. Yet they were given authorization to distribute this new, and I'm going to get to that because some people still don't know the difference, new mRNA technology that they call vaccines. And it's much different than the ones we've gotten for polio, the measles, rubella, and all that stuff. It's much different. So you have to think about that. Think about that. Would you trust any company that's never been able to produce a successful product, but now they are able to sell their product because they've been given an emergency authorization to use it and skip a whole bunch of steps? This is how they finally made it past stage 3. FDA helped them through stage 3 by issuing an emergency authorization use and allowing them to distribute their vaccine, making trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars, not billions. Trillions. Find the COVID vaccine for children 5 years. The federal government is providing the COVID-19 vaccination free of charge to all people living in the United States, regardless of their immigration or health insurance status. You ever wonder why they've never gone so hard for the homeless issue that we have in this country, or for poverty, or to improve the schools in this country? You ever wonder why they've never gone so hard to improve the lives of Black Americans or any other minority group that all of a sudden, the system cares so much about? They haven't done any of this stuff. Any of this stuff. So I would advise you to speak with your doctor, your primary care doctor, and see what they have to say, especially if you've been going to them, for a very long time. Like mine, again, they're going to give you an honest recommendation. There are approximately 28 million children between the ages of 5 and 11 years old in the United States, and there have been nearly 2 million cases of COVID-19 within this age group during the pandemic. Okay. See, there's conflicting information. If you notice that in the beginning, last year, everything was about the death toll. The death toll kept climbing, and then it kind of stopped. And then people started to feel like, wait a minute, maybe this isn't as bad. I mean, people did die, but I don't really know. And then people started to want to get back to normal, and it seems like they wanted to keep us scared. So then they started hitting us with the cases. The cases are increasing. And again, you see that there were 2 million cases of COVID-19 among young children. Well, what's the death rate? That's important. Kids get sick all the time. And I don't want my kids getting sick with anything. I get sad, and sometimes even tear up when I see my kids even sick with just a regular, sickness that they get during the wintertime. So I understand. I don't want them to get sick, but what's the death rate? How many kids have actually died? So, and that's what you should really factor in when considering uh, whether or not you're going to give your child between the age of 5 and 11 the vaccine, because you don't know the long term studies. God forbid. God forbid. I'm just saying, look, I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. Again, I'm just presenting information out there, but God forbid, because the long term studies are not there. These vaccines, normally, the ones that we've taken, the ones that people say, well, you've taken vaccines before, they normally go through 7 to 10 years of studies and clinical trials before they are even given to the people. So for us to have these new, and they're new because they're completely different technology of vaccines, and not have even 2 full years of studies, and then give them to kids, I think is irresponsible. And I just think it's a risk that you shouldn't take unless there were 2 million kids dying and there were 2 million kids dead in the United States. Then yes, yes, because that means that people are being really impacted, and you would be seeing that. You would be seeing your neighbors, you would be seeing people in your jobs, you would hear about your friends' kids, families' kids. And maybe I'm just a lucky person, because I don't hear the people dying of COVID. I'm very lucky. I don't know anyone, and I'm very, very lucky, I guess, and I'm very blessed for that. So, and I'm gonna go to the death. And speaking about the death numbers, let's go to the numbers. And this is from the CDC. Let's go to the death, and then I'm gonna show you another statistic that's gonna kind of blow your mind. It's not gonna make sense to you, right? So if you look here, these are the death for age groups. Actually, I'm gonna go down. Where did I go to? I'm sorry. I'm gonna change the age group here. We'll keep it actually. Well, this is the age group. So here, so you have 4-year-olds. It says 102 deaths. Okay, and that's for females. For males, 117 deaths. So that's 219. Okay. Now you have 5 to 18 years of age. For females, the CDC reports 222 deaths. And now for males, 5 to 18, 290. Okay, so excuse me. That makes a what? 511, 512, 512 total for 5 to 18 years of age. Now, what is that period from? Let's look at the period. Let's look over here. When did they start collecting this data? It started back in January of last year, January 4th of 2020, till 11 November this month of this year, November 20th of 2021. Yes, one life is a lot. One life is a lot. But unfortunately, we live in a world where people die of all ages for many reasons. So if I come off as insensitive, please excuse me. And I'm extremely sorry. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone. I'm just simply trying to communicate the facts so we can have the true information and be informed and try to make sense of this all and make the best decision, because there are people dying from the vaccines just as much, if not more, than COVID. So, and I've suffered death, so I have a lot of respect. So I'm just trying to put this into perspective and numbers. So again, please excuse me if it may come off as insensitive. So going back to the numbers. So from January of last year, so to November. So we're talking about almost 2 years. Almost 2 years, 5 to 18-year-olds, you have 512 deaths in 5 to 18-year-olds in almost 2 years. Okay, so about a little over about 260, 255 people, 5 to 18 a year. Now 0 to 4 was what, 219. It's just not a lot of, it's not, the numbers don't seem to say, hey, go out and get your kid a vaccine that's still experimental. It's still experimental. So that's a total of 731 people from the age of 0 to 18 years old that have died in almost 2 years. Now, I'm going to show you another statistic because this doesn't make sense to me, and I'm going to and I hopefully this will kind of make you say, "Hey, well maybe I should reconsider." Because one of the side effects of the vaccines among children has been a condition known as myocarditis. Myocarditis is the inflammation of the heart, and it has led to young people to suffer strokes. 13, 14-year-olds suffering strokes. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? So I want to talk a little bit about myocarditis and show you what they say about it and how they try to tell you it's not that big of a deal. But if you look at the cases of myocarditis versus the number of kids that have died in almost 2 years, it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Let's see if you can see that there. So, what to know about myocarditis risk? Again, this is inflammation of the heart. Health experts are keeping a close eye on myocarditis, or inflammation of the heart muscle brought on by the body's own immune system, which is a rare, they say rare, but I've seen a lot of videos of both parents and the kids themselves talking about having suffered this condition. A lot more than I've seen people say they died of COVID or suffering from COVID, which is a rare condition that has been seen in a small share. I love how they try to use these words. Small share of Pfizer and Moderna vaccine. Again, Moderna, first time they've ever had a vaccine in 11 years in business. A Pfizer Moderna vaccine recipient, mostly male adolescents, which is why you've been seeing a lot of athletes drop on the field, student athletes, and not to say that women aren't athletes, but you see more males, more male sports, mostly male adolescents and young male adults. So here's the kicker here. This is what I want you to focus on. There have been fewer than 1,000 CDC confirmed cases. When is this article from? This is from AARP, and this article is from this month. Okay. So let's say the death numbers that I gave you of 0 to 18 years of age, that was about almost 2 years. So this article was written in almost 2 years since the pandemic started. So it's about the same length of time. And they're saying that fewer than 1,000. Well, it's got to be closer to 1,000, because if it was 600, they would say fewer than 700, right? Or if it was 800, they would say fewer than 900. But it's got to be at least 900. So if at least 900 to 1,000 cases were confirmed of myocarditis by the CDC, which is inflammation of the heart, which causes young kids, to suffer strokes, was fewer than 1,000, and the death totals of kids between age 0 to 18 was 731. Why would you take the vaccine? Why would you take the vaccine? Why would you get your kid vaccinated if they have a higher chance of suffering a stroke, having myocarditis, than they do of dying from COVID? Do you understand the point that I'm trying to make there? And again, I'm not looking to change minds. I'm simply looking to present information using reason, logic, data, leaving out the emotions, which is why I apologize if I may come off as insensitive. But again, according to the CDC, this is information I'm getting from the Center of Disease Control, one of the major players in this entire COVID pandemic. They state that fewer than 1,000 kids so far have suffered from myocarditis, which I don't believe that. I believe it to be a lot more, but let's just use their number, fewer than 1,000. According to the CDC, again, the death totals for kids between the ages of 0 to 18 is 731. That's less than kids who suffer from myocarditis. So why would you take the chance of getting myocarditis when it's higher than dying? Kids suffering strokes can die. As a result of the stroke, kids have suffered neurological problems and have been in hospital for months, having multiple surgeries, and have died. Kids have died from the vaccine. So this is just, I'm just trying to present this information, and that's all, because again, it's coming down the pipeline. It's coming down the pipeline in the form of a bill that's introduced the Assembly, Bill A8378. It's going to happen. They're going to mandate it for all students. It's going to pass. If we don't speak up and say we want a choice, at least, and I think all Americans should agree to that at the very least, that we all should have a choice. Doesn't matter how you feel, whether you want it or you don't, whether you believe in it or you don't. The bottom line is that this is America. And in America, we have choices. It seems like we've become a communist country where they just continue to change the law. It's changed the law now. Executive order this, executive order that, mandate this, mandate that. Could you imagine to lay off hospital workers, fire doctors, our military personnel, making our military in the defense of this country vulnerable, our police officers, teachers, firemen, all those who we praised, called heroes. Could you imagine, guys? You had our backs, now we don't have yours. Kind of sucks, huh? I got your back. I support you guys all the way. But we have to think about that. It's time to use reason. We are in the age of light. And to get off sidetracked, because I'm still focused on Yonkers politics. And I will have another episode featuring another council member. And if you didn't see the episode from yesterday, go check it out. I go over the Westchester County housing assessment for 2021. And I invite Tasha, Councilwoman Tasha Diaz, on the show to discuss that, because I would love to discuss the housing assessment with her. So, again, I'm not looking to change minds. And it seems that there are a lot of people that are for the vaccine. According to the CDC and the White House, 2.8 million 5 to 11-year-olds have been vaccinated so far. 10% of the total population. And there are over 30,000 locations across the United States where you can get your child vaccinated if you want. And that's your choice. And I will respect it. But I have a choice also. My kids have choices also. And I'm asking that you respect it. I'm asking that the elected officials respect it. And we stand together in support of freedom of choice. Freedom of choice. And if you fear that an unvaccinated person is going to get you sick, even after you've been vaccinated, then you have to ask yourself, why did I get vaccinated? No! Think about that. Why are you afraid of an unvaccinated person if you've been vaccinated? Isn't that the point? To mandate everybody? Well, as it stands now, the Yonkers public schools are still going or having they're still doing their same protocol, which is teachers and staff must get either vaccinated or tested weekly. Students, they don't have to get either, but they can volunteer if they like to. They can volunteer to be tested if they like. Students do have to wear masks. All staff, teachers have to wear masks in the buildings. All visitors have to wear masks. Sign in at the front desk. Show your ID. Well, I've presented some information. Did I leave anything out? Oh, yes, actually, I did. I do want to share this because I think it's important also. For those who make the or try and make the point that the vaccines we have gotten in the past are the same. So what is the big issue? Well, here we go. This is Moderna's website. What does it say there? mRNA platform, enabling drug discovery and development. We built Moderna on the guiding premise that if using mRNA as a medicine works for one disease, it should work for many diseases. Money, 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 money. And if this is possible, given the right approach and infrastructure, it could meaningfully improve how medicines are discovered, developed, and manufactured. Well, they're more concerned with discovering, developing, and manufacturing medication than actually preventing and stopping and curing disease. Proactive. Do they tell you about eating right? Why don't they shut down those McDonald's and Burger Kings? How about that? How about you completely do away with cigarettes and alcohol? Pornography, too, while you're at it. Our operating system. This is very important. What is an operating system? To the nurse that tried to make the point that I took the vaccines when I was born, it's the same thing. Did they have operating systems when I was born? I mean, hey, I'm young, but not that young. What is an operating system? Windows is an operating system. Apple iOS is an operating system. Android is an operating system. Vaccines, operating systems? Recognizing the broad potential of mRNA science, we set out to create an mRNA technology platform. The problem is that truly this language is not generally understood. And that's no offense. I sat here with my wife, I read, and she was not understanding some of it. And I get it. I took some computer classes here and there. Platform, that is something your operating system is running on. Or I can't explain it in technical terms, but for example, social media platforms are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Vaccine is an app. This vaccine is an app. Recognizing the broad potential of mRNA science, we set out to create an mRNA technology platform that functions very much like an operating system on a computer. It is designed so that it can plug and play interchangeably with different programs. What? In our case, the program or app is our mRNA drug, the unique mRNA sequence that codes for a protein. This is unbelievable. We're becoming cyborgs. The future is here. We have a dedicated team of several hundred scientists and engineers solely focused on advancing Moderna's platform technology. They're calling this technology. They are organized around key disciplines and work in an integrated fashion to advance knowledge surrounding mRNA science and solve the challenges that are unique to mRNA drug development. Some of these disciplines include mRNA biology, chemistry, formulation and delivery, biomatics, and protein engineering. This sounds like I'm reading off Microsoft or Google's or Apple's or IBM's webpage, not a company that produces a medicine or a drug, a prescription drug. So it is not the same, folks. This is not the same. This vaccine is designed to go into your body, somehow cling onto your cells, encoded to create the spike protein that you don't have. Because if you don't have it, you're going to have it. And it's going to produce it and produce it and produce it. And eventually it's going to wear down your immune system. And you're going to get sick easily, sick and more sick and more sick. That's a reason why they've used HIV and AIDS patients in their studies on these vaccines. And that's a fact. That's a fact. And I'm sharing a lot of information here. And maybe boring, but this is important information, especially if you're going to get your child vaccinated. Adverse effects. Let's talk about really quick the studies that were done, the clinical studies, and what were the results. What were the results? Let's read the results. Primary outcome measures. Percentage of participants in phase 1 reporting local reaction. Time frames for 7 days after dose. 1 and 2. Pain or tenderness at the injection site, redness and swelling as reported on electronic diaries. Oh, that's okay. It's no big deal. That's normal stuff, right? Yeah. 2. Percentage of participants in phase 1 reporting systemic events, time frame, 7 days after dose 1 and 2. Again, fever, fatigue, headache, chills, vomiting, diarrhea, new or worsened muscle pains, and new or worsened joint pains, decreased appetite, drowsiness, and irritability as reported on electronic diaries. So if you got vaccinated and you're getting angry at people, you can blame it on the vaccine. Blame it on the vaccine. Yeah, yeah. 3. Percentage of participants in phase 1 reporting adverse events. Again, time frame, it doesn't state. Dose, only dose 1 through 1 month after the last dose, as elicited by investigational site staff. A percentage of participants in phase 2 reporting serious. Again, 4. Percentage of participants in phase 1 reporting serious adverse events. Time frame from dose 1 through 6 months. So here, this this is important right there. And I mentioned this earlier. We don't know the long-term effects. However, if you can be observant and pick it up, as I've gone down, you notice that the time frames increase. What happens as the time frame increases? The adverse effects seem to worsen, right? So you go 1 and 2, you have the time frame of 7 days after dose 1 and 2. Now you go down to 3 and 4. Well, 3 is 1 month after the last dose. 4 is dose 1 through 6 months after the last dose. That's where you started seeing serious adverse events. But they don't list them. Like they listed the non-severe ones, right? The pain and or tenderness and the fatigues and stuff. That one they'll list that. But what are the severe adverse events that took place after 6 months of the last dose? 5. Percentage of participants in phase 2 and 3 reporting local reaction. Again, 7 days, you get the local reaction, the rashes, tenderness in the injection site, redness and swelling. 6. Percentage of participants in phase 2, 3 reporting systemic events. Fatigue, fever, chills, headaches, vomiting, diarrhea. Same stuff, irritability. 7. Participants in phase 2 and 3 reporting adverse events. Again, same thing. 8 serious events are being reported, but they don't mention what those actually are. And then why is that? Why is that? So again, you have to do your research. You have to consider these facts. There are adverse effects. There are adverse events that are happening, side effects that people are experiencing, particularly young people. People under the age of 40 have experienced an increase in heart attacks. The rate of heart attacks among people under 40 has increased. And it's you have to weigh that. Do you want to Do you want to risk it? You want to chance it? Again, as you can see there, as it progressed, time progressed, it seems that the effects worsened. So this is serious stuff. These are our kids. These are our kids, and I want to shout out the brave moms, dads, teachers, police officers, firemen, medical personnel who have been coming out speaking about it, nurses and doctors who are saying that the majority of the hospitalizations are coming from those who have been vaccinated. And I can't believe that they're just charging through with this. At the very least, say, hold up, let's pump the brakes and let's see what's going on here. But instead, no, it's good. It's safe. Don't worry about it. People are dying. Don't be selfish. Get the vaccine. We'll give you a six-pack. If you get your kid vaccinated in the Bronx, they'll give you $100. $100 gift card comes in the mail. You want Krispy Kreme donuts? What about marijuana? Some states that have legal recreational marijuana are offering free weed. Unhealthy stuff. Donuts. Krispy Kreme for a year, knowing that every year over 400,000 people die of heart disease. So they're going to give you weed, donuts, beer, and $100 to the parents if they bring their kids, so the parents can go shopping. By the way, Big Pharma, these companies have full indemnity, meaning that they cannot be sued. So God forbid something happens, you cannot sue them, can't take them to court, you're not going to get any money. And in fact, as many people have said, they're going to make you out to be crazy and say it's all in your mind, which is what some parents have been saying. Some people have been saying that have been reporting these effects. So, look, I'm not trying to change minds. I just wanted to speak about that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's Bill A8378. It's in the pipeline. It's coming down. And by the way, all you Trump supporters, because I'm not a Trump supporter, all you Trump supporters, I do want to give this fact. Just before Trump left office, he signed an executive order on modernizing influenza vaccines in the United States to promote national security, public health. And that was signed on December 19th, 2019. Hence why you have mRNA technology, this new technology now that they're using. So your boy Trump signed this executive order to allow them to create this new technology for this computer, digital platform type of vaccines, and also was the one that pushed for the vaccines to come out as quick as they did. Operation Warp Speed. Do you remember that? It's funny because the same people that hated Trump and said I would never take that vaccine if it came out because it would be too fast are the ones pushing you to take it. They were saying that because they hated Trump so much. They were calling him stupid. There's no way a vaccine could come out that fast. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's what they were saying. And it came out. And then he signed this executive order. So it's all been set up. This has been, listen, now I'm getting conspiracy theory-ish. But no, again, Bill A8378, A8378, Bill A8378 is a bill requiring the immunization for COVID-19 of all students in order to attend. Schools will have to require it in order to receive funding from federal government. So that's going to happen along with local governments or who are going to be receiving or are already receiving COVID funds in order to implement a lot of these regulations and these mandates that are coming down from the top. It's only a matter of time. So again, Bill A8378 will mandate the vaccination of all students in order to attend school with COVID-19 vaccination. Although they tell you that the vaccine doesn't work and you need booster shots. They tell you that it doesn't work because everyone has to be vaccinated in order for it to work. Wow.
No!
Wow, that's unbelievable. And by the way, for parents who are divorced, just in case you're wondering and you're into divorce, parents, if you guys can't agree, the husband and wife, the father and mother can't agree on the vaccination of their child, ultimately the court will. And in some states, I believe 12-year-olds are now allowed to make the decision on their own. So it doesn't matter if you as a parent say, no, I don't want them vaccinated. If they're 12 and older in a certain state, they can say, hey, I want it. And the police will prevent you from stopping them. This is the world we're living in now. This is the country we're becoming. It's a sad day in America. Thank God I have my exit plan. I hope you have yours. I'm out of here. By the way, I was talking to a gentleman by the name of Johnny Limo a day or two ago. He is the founder of MPAC, Mediterranean People and Communities, and he wants me to announce that, I think I should also want to announce it, that he's looking for to sponsor anyone who, he's looking to, sponsor, help fund anyone who's interested in running for political office. Their organization will match what you put into the campaign fund. He's looking for serious, viable candidates, those who are passionate, who truly want to work for the people. He will be coming on to announce that and talk about it some more. So look out for that. My guy, Johnny Limo, right? Everybody says, it's Johnny's behind basic politics. He's not. I like the guy, known for a while. I like a lot of people. I like all you guys, but I will call you out. I will say it like it is. I call a spade, and it's not personal. It's politics.
No!
Tune in this Sunday for another episode of Basement Politics Unfiltered with Freddy Vazquez. Again, the offer still stands. Councilwoman Tasha Diaz, please reach out to me, politicwithfred@gmail.com. We love to schedule for an interview. Next month is going to be an interesting month. I'm going to have some awesome people coming on, some big names. I'm moving on up. So look out for that. I will be announcing that at the beginning of next month. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for liking. Please share. I love the feedback. Please give me the feedback. Let me know what you want to or would you would like to see discussed on the show. Any specific topics, let me know. Give us feedback. politicwithfred@gmail.com. Freddy Vazquez, I'm out of here. Happy Monday. Have a happy Tuesday.